I welcome you all for this session on Japanese 5S practices. I am Dr. Manjunath V.S., Director, Enlytics Bangalore. Enlytics is a company which is into training and consulting in various disciplines, which includes Lean, Six Sigma, quality management, digital marketing, project management, human resource management, and other related disciplines. Today I am going to explain you all about Japanese 5S practices. What are these Japanese 5S practices and why they are very, very important? The Japanese 5S practices were first introduced by a person called Takashi Wasada way back in 1950s. All of you know that Toyota Production System introduced lean manufacturing practices, and the Japanese 5S management practices became foundation stone for these lean management practices. So today, all of us have to understand that without these 5S practices, you can forget about lean implementation. So 5S are foundation for lean management practices. In India, the 5S practices were first time introduced around the year 2002. Basically, 5S practices are the practices which help a workplace to improve and sustain the improvements over a period of time. 5S practices are also bringing in what we call it as visual management practices by bringing visual controls and visual information systems. And these 5S practices can become foundation for continuous improvement and lean implementation by helping an organization in removal of various forms of waste. Now, why we call these practices as 5S practices? These 5S practices in Japanese language starts with the letters starting from S in all the Japanese terms. These 5 terms in Japanese languages are Sairi, Saitan, Saiso, Shiketsu, and Shitsuke. Even the terms which have been translated from Japanese to English, the English words also starts with the S, and the equivalent words are sort, set in order, sweep or shine, standardize, and self-discipline. Now let us try to understand each practice in detail. The first Japanese 5S practice is Sairi or sort. This sort practice is all about getting rid of unwanted items in your workplace. Most often our workplaces are cluttered because they are having many unwanted items which are accumulated over a period of time. The first 5S practice helps us in getting rid of all these unwanted items. In this first S, we try to classify all the items which are in our workplace into wanted and unwanted items. To achieve this, we use a technique called red tagging technique. The suspicious and unwanted items are red tagged and kept aside for a period of time to ensure that the people have sufficient amount of time to make a decision whether it is needed item or unneeded item. So once it is decided that that item is not required for that particular department and also for that particular organization, these items are unwanted items which can be safely disposed. It is often found that in many organizations, at the end of the 5S, close to 30 to 40% of the items may become unwanted item for any department or any individual or for the organization. That means our workplaces are cluttered because over a period, all these items have been accumulated in the shop floor, in the machine shop, in our office, etc. So once these items are removed, the workplace becomes more spacious, and the frequent complaint that we talk about, that workplace is so congested, these complaints may become lesser and lesser. People start finding more and more space in their own workplaces. And another advantage of getting unwanted items removed is we can also get a lot of income by disposing these all unwanted items which have accumulated for a long period of time and which went unnoticed over a period. And also the workplace becomes more clean and neat because we are able to remove this scrap or unwanted items. Now, once we are able to get rid of these unwanted items, we will move on to the second S, which is nothing but set in order or SETA. In this particular S, we try to classify the items into three categories. They are the most frequently used items, the items which are used in a moderate frequency, and the items which are very rarely used. This classification is basically meant for identifying the places for every item. The second S principle in Japanese 5S practices is based on the standard principle that every item has a place in the organization and every item is to be made available in that particular place. So to bring in this kind of an order in the workplace, we try to identify the designated locations for each item, and we start putting the labels for each designated item, and we ensure that only that particular item is made available in that particular location. This practice also helps us because we are keeping most frequently items closer to the workplace and rarely used items far away from the workplace, so that the waste related to motion, searching or transportation will be reduced over a period of time. In the long run, it can also bring down the inventory requirements in the organization, and the productivity of every employee will definitely is going to increase post second S implementation. The third S is all about cleaning or making the workplace clean, neat and tidy. In this third S principle, we try to fix responsibilities for every employee to bring in how they can prepare the schedules and how they can take care that the cleaning schedules are maintained strictly as per the responsibilities allocated to every individual. And this principle is not just mere cleaning, it is also ensuring that all equipments, all shelves, all containers are well maintained and dust and dirt is removed from them, and also we ensure that there is no abnormality in terms of defects in a machine, or it could be missing items. These can be detected during this cleaning process or inspection process. The third, once the first three S are implemented, the workplace will become now more neat, clean and tidy and hygienic. The fourth S, the standardization or shiketsu, is bringing in standard workplace practices like definite schedules for 1S, 2S, 3S, standard operating procedures for 1S, 2S, 3S, and also bringing in auditing activities like self-auditing, departmental auditing, interdepartmental auditing, and external auditing. Even the standardization will be done in terms of labeling, arrow marks, pathway marking, so on and so forth. In the fifth S, basically we try to move beyond the 5S practices by bringing pride and ownership among the workplace. We will also introduce interdepartmental 5S competitions. So we can even bring in 5S poster competitions. We started encouraging people with awarding and rewarding for best contributions towards implementation of 5S practices. So once these 5S practices are implemented, there can be huge transformation in the workplace, and the quality, productivity can definitely improve significantly, and at the same time, almost all 7 deadly waste what we have identified in lean manufacturing can start disappearing from the workplace. As we understood, the first S, second S and third S are the basic 5S implementation, and fourth S and fifth S are supporting pillars. I am sure all of you will appreciate the importance of these 5S practices in today's workplaces, whether it is a factory or whether it is an office or hospital or whatever may be the type of the organization. And these 5S practices were the foundation for the Toyota production system, and it helped in creating what we call it as visual management practices. If you need more information about these 5S practices or any information about Lean and Six Sigma and also the training programs related to Lean and Six Sigma, you can contact us on manjunath.vs@nleanytics.in. Thank you all.